Hello,
Yeah.
hello.
Hello.
Whoa. Not sure what it is, but my Skype audio is really.
What'd you say? Oh, it's blurry as hell. No.
Never. Same problem as always.
Well, if you need a question, just ask Scott about David Dahl, and then we'll just both shut up and let him talk.
Yeah, for half an hour.
Just say the words David Dahl, and he'll let it go.
There we go.
Oh, hey.
Any other questions you guys have off the top of your head before we go? I'm really firing blanks today.
I mean, you can do something about LeMahieu. That's.
I'm sure we can scrap some just like free agency in general.
Yeah.
The like 2 moves that were made during winter meetings.
Not about winter meetings as a whole.
Yeah.
What was the winter meetings trade? Was that the one with Nate Lau?
That was one of them, but the bigger one was the Lance Lynn one.
Right.
So that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So we are live.
We are live.
This
is the main event of the evening.
That is true.
You'll be waiting all your day. The whole
For
day.
everyone's evening. Yeah, absolutely. Ian Kroll was signed by the Tigers. That's the reason we're here.
That's right. We are recapping the Ian
we
Kroll
had to do
signing.
A whole hour-long review on that, yeah.
First question, who is Ian Kroll?
The disrespect. Second stint with the Tigers. Always the best one.
So, I guess big, well, we'll give people a chance to file in here. I'm firing out a tweet right now. And then
Evan says, best podcast crew ever.
Evan is correct.
No, he's not wrong.
Yeah, he's not.
It's not correct.
He's not correct.
So how was your day?
Oh, you know. How was your day, Cop?
My day was pretty good.
Looking pretty cute.
Hey, look who's talking.
I'm embarrassed for how excited, like genuinely, how excited I got when the Tigers announced they signed Ian Kroll.
Were you just literally waiting for a human being to be signed by them?
I was waiting for any move at all to happen by the Tigers, and it's Ian Kroll, who hasn't pitched in the majors since 2018, and pitched in indie ball in 2020 to a minor league deal, and I was like ecstatic.
I mean, that's how you build winning teams. What can I say?
Yeah, you get indie ball players.
You
Everybody
need
knows.
your Ian Krolls.
Everybody knows that indie ball fuels champions.
Step 1 to winning a championship: sign
Sign
an entire indie ball team.
Sign as many indie ball players as you possibly can.
People
that is obviously rule.
Little known fact is that indie ball teams are actually higher level of competition than Major League Baseball.
Correct. Absolutely.
I did hear that somewhere.
Where did you hear that, Cop? I'd love to know. Love to know your source there.
Ryan Ruhde.
All right, there we go. So we're rolling now. We got 7 people tuned in. We're glad to have you. As always, please fire away with your questions in chat. So I guess the first, probably the biggest piece of news that goes even a little bit beyond baseball, and not necessarily one that we can ask a question. I guess we can ask the question of what will the team be called, but the big news is that the Cleveland baseball team will now be changing their name. Sounds like effective in 2022.
Yes, it's interesting to me, and I don't like playing like moral high ground with anyone. Like, I think everybody has their own sets of morals and whatever, but like, it's interesting to me that they can admit that something is wrong with the name, but keep it
for 2021. Yeah. Like the duality there is
like, say what you will about the Washington football team, at least they scrapped it ASAP. And they scrapped it so quickly, matter of fact, that they literally did not give themselves time to think of a different name.
Yeah, you don't. They basically admitted, it's obviously not this serious, but they admitted to a crime, then said, "I'll stop doing that crime after like another year." So I recognize it's bad, but just give me another year to figure out something else to do. Like,
it's more of an acknowledgement. It's more of a, okay, you think this is wrong, than a, okay, this is wrong. The old team name.
It's okay, we understand that some people think it's wrong. It's not an actual, like, we think it's wrong or realize it's wrong.
It's not something that they really care about. It's just something that they feel like people want them to do. Yeah. So that's why they're doing it. It's not that because if they genuinely recognize why they are doing it, they would stop it right now. They just go through a year. Honestly, I fully believe Washington should keep Washington football team. I think it's it's a cool thing. Like, it's stupid, but it's kind of cool.
Yeah,
I like having having a team that just represents the city. I think that's a cool kind of thing.
Well, they definitely. I mean, there's legit consideration to just keep it. So, like, I mean, at least a few people are on board with you.
Matthew, the Washington football team fan, is not at all on board with you.
Yes, it's just interesting to me that like I said, that they can fully admit something is wrong with having this name. We are going to change it, yet not like now.
Not yet. We'll keep the old one for
we'll get to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's doesn't really make sense to me. That being said, I am ecstatic that they're finally changing it.
Yeah.
I'm with all of what we just said is still very true, and it's very interesting. At the end of the day, I don't care how they got there. They finally got to the right answer. It's like in math when the teacher's like, show your work, and your work is like completely incorrect, but you still get the right answer, so you get like half a point.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what I mean? Like it's fine. Like I'll take it. I don't care at this point, as long as they finally changed the name, and I am a huge advocate for bringing the Spiders back.
I was about to say, are we as a society fully on board with Cleveland Spiders?
Cannot miss answer.
The question I actually have up right now is, what will the team name be? And I think the common answer is the Spiders. Yeah.
I think it's a slam dunk, man. Like there are a lot of Cleveland baseball team fans, including our very own Peter Kayat. Everybody seems to be in agreement that, like, hey, if you're gonna change it, make it the Spiders. And like Peter has been an advocate to change it to anything for a long time. But like there are a lot of people that are Cleveland baseball team fans that have been in the boat of, hey, we don't want it to change, but if you have to change it, make it the Spiders kind of thing. I just think it's a slam dunk. I think it's a can't miss. The color scheme's incredible. The concepts, logos have been unbelievably impressive and look incredible. I just think, and like there's already, it was 150 years ago, but I think baseball is a sport of such tradition and holds traditional values way higher than they even should, honestly, but like holds tradition and like old time baseball like so highly regarded that like bringing back a team name from the 1800s is a slam dunk marketing thing given the sport that this is associated with. I really think it's a can't miss opportunity, and it's a easy slam dunk pick, and there really shouldn't even be consideration for another team.
Yeah. I was gonna say that same thing. Like you just have like it's similar to what to say, but like how different franchises have used different teams' names. So like the Baltimore Orioles, the Yankees were originally the Baltimore Orioles.
Even within
Washington
the own
Senators
city
were two different franchises.
The Browns are the Ravens.
Browns are the Ravens. Yeah,
like literally within their own city, there's an example of that. Like that is a stupid argument.
You bring back so like and their current name has so much history behind it. I mean, they've been in the team for 105 years, I think. So like, I think that the Spiders is just a good direction to go. One, because it's awesome. Like some of the logos I've seen have been so sick. Like they could really do something cool with it. But also, like you said, I mean, they're just cool. It's an 1800s team that you're bringing back from the dead. It's kind of like a cool thing to do. Yeah. Like, I'm fully on board with the Cleveland Spiders.
So I have a few thoughts here, and I also will rattle off a couple of things in chat. So Matthew asked, what if they treated it like fantasy and changed their name every year to be a pun based on a player's name?
You know what? They would change their name every year because Cleveland doesn't pay any of their players.
Yeah. They just keep trading guys right for
They just keep acquiring and trading and not re-signing so many people that you wouldn't have a name for more than like 2 years in a row.
Yeah, I'm trying to come up with what that would sound like for a Major League Baseball team. It's just it's crazy.
It'd be wild, that's for sure.
Garrett says they should change it to the Cleveland Purples since the colors red and brown are already taken in the state of Ohio. Just have as many Ohio teams named after colors as you can.
Just name every single Ohio team a different color.
Yeah. I think I really like the analogy you used actually, Scott, about like a math problem, because I think it is also important to like note here that yes, this is the right thing for the Indians to do it, but this is like one of the worst paths we've taken to get there. It's taken them forever to acknowledge that it's a problem.
Yeah.
They've barely acknowledged that they think it's a problem, if they have, and they're not taking immediate action. So
if you look at and again, Peter pointed this out on his Twitter, but if you look at the Cleveland's like the press release from the team, they apologize and acknowledge the well-being of the shareholders and not the fans.
Yeah, they say.
Did they also spell Cleveland wrong?
I don't know.
That would not surprise
me whatsoever. But it's incredible to me how I'm not sure I've ever seen a team or anybody fumble into the correct answer as poorly as much as they have, truly.
Yeah. So the thought that I've kept coming back to when I think about this is, we may never actually hear about this publicly if it were a thing, but if you had a baseball team named the Spiders, I feel like it's only a matter of time before there's a player that doesn't sign there out of a fear of spiders.
I was about to I would be extremely intimidated anytime the Yankees played them because I have bad fear of spiders. So I would not be, if they put like a real spider as their logo or had a mascot, I would not watch the game.
Right. like I'm saying, there's got to be some baseball players out there that just don't like spiders.
Well, they just throw a tarantula on the field.
Like, I don't know. That's just the thought I've kept coming back to, and I'm like, that's, it's the most random thing, and it would be a super cool team name, but
it's a fair point. Somebody's got to have it. It's a real thing. It's a real phobia. Someone's got to have it.
Matthew raises a very good point. Imagine Game 7 of the World Series happening on Halloween with the spiders playing. That'd be a cool occurrence.
Too bad they'll never get there.
I was just saying that won't be anytime soon.
Yeah. And I think the other question that this raises then, or if you see this as kind of a chain of dominoes almost, the next domino that might fall would be likely the Atlanta Braves in terms of a team changing a mascot with references to Native Americans. So how strongly do we feel this announcement from Cleveland implicates the team in Atlanta?
Honestly, I'm not sure. I'm sure it moves the needle a little bit, but I'm not sure it's really. I don't think that Atlanta's like feeling pressured or anything now, or at least not any more than they already were. I don't know. I just think that their owner has already come out several times and like Cleveland put together, or at least told us they did. They've acknowledged the problem for the last calendar year, right? And whether they went about it the right way or not is really personal opinion. But Atlanta has made no acknowledgement that this is even a remote issue. Like when Washington football team happened, Cleveland tweeted that day and said, "Hey, we're putting a team of analysts and people together to go talk to people of this heritage and find out if this is offensive and if we need to change our team name." Like that happened the day the Washington football team name was birthed. Like the day. Yeah. And Atlanta has absolutely given no comment or implications what's even remotely regarding that situation. So I don't really think that, like I said, it's impossible to say that it doesn't move the needle at all. I don't think, because it's a franchise in your sport just did it. But like I think it's very minuscule, and I'm not really sure it changes anything regarding them, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that you had the Braves. I think they may have mentioned that they were doing that they were talking to the Native American tribes in their area, and I think the Seminoles at Florida State are doing the same thing, and I think the Blackhawks maybe too. But that, yeah, I don't know if it may move the needle. It may pressure them a bit more, but I don't think that they're going to feel the pressure an insane amount. I think there's also always been more criticism of Cleveland's name
very fair.
Than Atlanta's,
and a lot of that comes from how blatantly horrible their logo was for a very long time.
Their logo, and the fact that they're named after the incorrect term for a group of people, and the fact that they're named after just straight up a group of people.
Yeah,
right.
Just straight up, it's the name of this like group of people. It's a very weird name. Like when you really think about it. So I think that the Braves will probably feel some pressure. I will guarantee you that they're asked about it the next time the owner has a press conference, if he does. But I think that they haven't had the pressure. Like now they're the team that will have the attention on them because it's been Cleveland for so long.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that it was Cleveland for so long when we think about it. So it may
over a century.
Yeah.
And I think the thing with the Braves too, and this is a discussion that has also gone on a little bit around my high school mascot, actually, because my high school was the Warriors, and I think similar to that, the Braves isn't necessarily, on the same level as Cleveland's former name and the Washington football team's former name. The Braves isn't necessarily an explicit Native American reference quite as much. And so, like my high school...
I mean, nothing will ever be as worse as the Washington football's name was straight up a slur.
So the problem in Atlanta more so is things like a tomahawk in the logo, the tomahawk chop.
Yeah.
Those are the things that explicitly
and they have acknowledged that. They have acknowledged
those are the things that explicitly
the logo is now just an A, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah. It's just an A. So yeah, I think there's more to be seen from that, and I think there should be an expectation on Atlanta to acknowledge a responsibility to have a team name that they can be sure is not actively offensive, because on the bottom line, you just shouldn't, as a professional sports team, alienate anyone.
For sure.
I remember during the Washington football team, people were like, well, this poll says only like 20% of Native Americans are offended by it. That's a lot. I mean, no one should be offended by a team's name. That is not something that should be anywhere. Your name should not be something that could possibly offend people. Like, no one gets offended at the Red Sox or like the Tigers. Like, this is not like it's like an insane conversation to have that we.
My second cousin's a Tiger. Actually, he hates the team name. No, you're absolutely right. Almost any reference to a group of people, really, just there's no reason to have it when there's so many other potential names out there. I mean, I think almost everyone agrees that the Spiders would be way cooler than the Indians anyway, as a name for Cleveland's baseball team.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Like Cop said, like when you think about it at like a very basic level, it's just weird. Like take the like how offensive it whatever your opinion is on it, how offensive it may or may not be. That is just weird, dude. Like what if I don't know, like you just started a team name tomorrow and called it like the joke is like the Cleveland Caucasians. Like how weird is that? Like that's so weird. Like
it's just a weird thing.
It's just, why did you just take a random like ethnicity and you were just like, let's just name a team, like at a very basic level, like offensive or not, it's just odd. Like it, like at its simplest form, it's just like really weird, and I'm not sure why it was a thing in the first place, just on that principle. Nonetheless, how offensive it might be.
Yeah. So anyway, I think we've covered that pretty well. Hopefully they come up with a good team name there in Cleveland, and at the very least, they have acknowledged the need for change.
Yes.
So anyway, we can move on to there have been some transactions since we last talked. We most recently recapped the non-tender deadline. And since then, we've had the winter meetings, which went down relatively quietly. We do have a few things to talk about. Really quickly, we want to thank Jack Dorfsman, our own writer, who tipped us $2. Thank you, Jack. We really appreciate the tip.
Jack's the go. I miss you, Jack.
Yeah.
You should talk more. We miss you.
So anyway, let's go ahead and let's first talk about recent free agent signings. So,
let's not.
So as recently as today, we had Hunter Renfroe, who was non-tendered by the Rays, has signed with the division rival Red Sox. Scott, of course, is still grieving the signing of David Dahl by the Rangers.
Brutal.
The Royals have made a couple signings. They signed Carlos Santana and they signed Greg Holland.
Yeah, I'd say currently you have the biggest signing of the offseason as it stands.
Carlos Santana.
Yeah.
Plus, you also have to include the prospects you're going to get for him at the deadline. So just like all around.
We'll see.
And honestly, giving him a 2-year deal like that is so smart for that reason. You can get way more. You can get way more of a return out of a 1.5-year rental than you can half-a-year rental.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with that. And if the Royals do end up selling at this trade deadline, which is very possible, it's hard to see them anywhere other than 4th place in the division at best by then. They've got a 1.5 years of Santana. They've got a 1.5 years of Mike Minor. So they'll have a lot of options at that point. I'm trying to remember if there have been any other free agent signings that I'm missing.
The Mets.
Yes, the Mets signed James McCann to a 4-year, $40
million.
And
what's his nuts?
Trevor May.
Thanks,
James McCann
Evan.
and Trevor May, yes. So those have been some of the most recent. So out of those and every other free agent signing, what has been your guys' favorites so far?
I can tell you my least favorite. My favorite is, and this really pains me to say it because I cannot stand this organization, but I think the Santana signing is brilliant. I think that it's just again like simpling things down. It is a glaring need for that team, just for starters. Another bat and a first baseman, both just massive holes.
Mm-hmm.
Then you and I don't mean to sound like a boomer, but like the presence that he must bring to a clubhouse full of just like young like kids and all the kids that are coming up, whether he's moved at the deadline this year or next year, regardless, like he's gonna have a lot of interactions and be a clubhouse leader of an incredibly young team that probably will not be incredibly good, and that is so important, and it's really not that expensive of a deal, especially considering they're not really paying anyone else. And like I said, if he's doing well enough in the first half of this season to move him, the difference between a 1.5 years of a player and half a year of a player when it comes to how many what caliber of prospects you receive is astronomical.
For sure.
It's honestly insane how lowballed teams get for half, to bring myself pain, like the JD Martinez move. Like we got nothing for half a year of JD Martinez, and there are lower caliber guys that get traded a year, like what Santana would be, 1.5 years before their contract ends, that actually get pretty solid returns. So I as much as it pains me to say it, because I cannot stand the Royals at all, I think the Santana move is really brilliant for the money and the status of that organization. Just all around an incredibly smart move.
Sure.
Yeah, I think my favorite move is also probably the Santana move. I also do like the Trevor May move by the Mets. I think that was a solid pickup. Nothing fantastic, but I think that's solid. I think that they're probably going to get Springer, which will be a great move by them.
He's going to live stream him in the bullpen while they're playing games. That's what he's going to do. He's going to Twitch it.
It's nice to see the Red Sox replacing Mookie Betts. Finally getting that pickup, equal caliber player.
Yes, obviously.
And Hunter Renfroe. I mean, I know it's Scott's least favorite move, but David Dahl's a very good pickup by Texas.
Man.
Well, I mean, there's
a
reason Scott wanted him so badly.
It's my least favorite move because it's my favorite move. You know what I mean?
It's a good move. I mean, obviously Texas is not in a contending boat, but I mean, I'm surprised the contender didn't go harder for him. There's $3 million.
There's no team in baseball outside of the Dodgers that should not have wanted David Dahl for a year and $3 million. None.
I don't know where he would fit on the Yankees.
Do not get me started.
Not a team. I mean, honestly,
horrible.
I feel like he would have. Maybe he wanted to establish himself on a team where he felt like he'd play regularly, but I feel like he would have gotten a bigger name caller than the Rangers.
I just don't think there was interest in him.
I don't.
Which amazes me because he's a good player. Because there's no way that $3 million was the result of a bidding war. He just did not get that many offers. He was a free agent for a couple weeks, gauged interest. There obviously wasn't that many. Al Avila did not listen to Tigers' Twitter.
Yeah.
And
what's new?
Went to Texas.
Ridiculous. Oh, I was so devastated.
I mean, like honestly, we've talked about the Royals a little bit. If we're buying in for 2021, right? We're signing Carlos Santana. We're signing Mike Minor. Why is David Dahl not on the table? 1 year, $3 million. What's the deal there? I mean, as of right now, the Royals, they have outfield options, but I guess it's because they just signed Michael A. Taylor. But like, seriously?
Noted middle schooler Michael A. Taylor.
Like really? What? I don't know.
I will say also that not in relation to Dahl, because I think if I talk about it anymore, I'm going to cry. But like the Renfroe signing, I think makes no sense. And it, it was a bargain deal, whatever. But like, Doogie's going to play center field for the Boston Red Sox.
Sure.
Now. I don't think that makes any remote sense at all. I don't think he's capable of playing center field like a everyday starting center fielder. And like he hit well, and his bat's going to be nice, and the Red Sox aren't really going to be, by the looks of it, a super good competitive team anyway. But when it comes to the development of your players and stuff, I just don't understand. I don't understand getting why are you letting like JBJ walk to bring in a corner outfielder and then having a corner outfield play center field? Like, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me personally. I think, good for him. He got a contract. It's probably the most money that he was offered, I'd imagine. But as far as the Red Sox go, I don't really fully understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that because also JBJ, I don't think he's he's a bad hitter. But he's a good defender. He's played that center field, which is a very tough place to play, for a long time. He's very good at it. He knows all the bounces there. And he's been there a long time. I mean, I am surprised that they let him walk for Renfroe, who's just not a. It's not like Renfroe's a gigantic. He's an improvement offensively on JBJ, but he's not anywhere near his defensive abilities.
Yeah. No,
yeah,
for sure.
Like I said, I don't understand it at all, and I think there are way bigger holes, like center field, that should have been addressed rather than bringing in another corner outfielder.
Yeah, absolutely. So
and it's early, so not very many people have been signed yet, so they absolutely could go out there and get another center fielder. But as it stands right now, it's just a weird fit as a first move. That's all.
Yeah. Okay, so one of the bigger moves, probably the biggest move out of the winter meetings, was that after probably a year and a half of trade speculation, Lance Lynn was finally traded from the Rangers. He was traded from the Rangers to the White Sox for a package that most notably was headlined by Dane Dunning. So how do we evaluate... if you consider Giolito, Lance Lynn, and Dallas Keuchel the 1, 2, 3 of that White Sox rotation, how strong of a rotation do we think that is? And how does the rest of the rotation shape up behind that, especially with a lot of uncertainty in their younger arms?
I mean, that's a fantastic move from the White Sox. I thought basically every team in baseball should have been in on Lance Lynn. He's been fantastic for the last couple of years. The price, I mean, Dunning was a top 5 prospect for the White Sox. He's a solid player, but it wasn't it's not you had to give up your farm for him. And I think he's a rental, obviously, but I think he's a very good player. I wanted the Yankees to be on him. The last couple of years he's had that top line stuff. I still wouldn't pencil him in as a number one starter, but he's absolutely a top half of your rotation guy. And with how good Keuchel was last year and how Giolito's been looking, that's a very good 1-3. And like you said, there's a lot of uncertainty with those young arms. So getting a couple experienced vets like Keuchel and Lynn is just a very good move from the White Sox. So, yeah, I think that's a A+ move from Chicago.
Very fair.
Yeah, I as a fan of a team whose general manager was Dave Dombrowski for over a decade of my life, I fully support this move from the White Sox perspective. I think anytime you can trade in the position that they are in, which is believed to be contention, right? That everybody, including them, believes that they're finally out of their rebuild. Now is the time they're going to contend for whether it's, division titles or deep playoff runs, whatever. They are finally wanting to contend again. And anytime you can trade, especially prospect pitching, like the Baseball America rule, right? Like if you have 5 good prospect arms, like one is going to turn out. Like there's a lot of uncertainty with prospect arms. So anytime you can ship out a young prospect arm for a proven arm when you are trying to compete, I think it made total sense. Strictly on paper, it might be a slight overpay given like how good people believe Dunning might be, but I think it's a very solid move for the White Sox and honestly for the Rangers too. That for that matter, that's a team that's in the middle of an absolute teardown and dumpster fire.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I think the rotation is probably the most interesting part of that team now. I mean, Keuchel. First of all, Giolito is probably one of the best. Like if there's one pitcher you want in your rotation right now for the long term, with longevity in mind, Giolito is probably one of the 5 or 10 guys you'd pick first to have in your rotation right now.
Yeah, he'd be, especially like you said, for controllability's sake as well. He's definitely up there. Yeah.
So, that's obviously very, very comfortable to have him at the top of that rotation. And then it's, I'm not even sure I'd say I'm comfortable betting on Keuchel or Lynn right now to be as good. I think they can still both be very good, and they will both be very worth what the White Sox have given up to get them into their rotation. But I still see most of that rotation as fairly shaky. I know Holden Phillips, one of our writers, believes very strongly that Lance Lynn is a big candidate to regress. I think Dallas Keuchel, he succeeded. He was successful last year, but had even lower strikeout numbers than any other season in his career. And had an insanely low home run to fly ball ratio. So, with those guys, and then you've got Dylan Cease, who has great stuff but has struggled to turn that into great production, and Michael Koplik, who will be coming back from Tommy John surgery. That's their projected rotation right now. And if I'm a White Sox fan, that still doesn't inspire me with 100% confidence that that's a rotation that gets the job done. I don't know. I could be very wrong. I think there's definitely a very wide range of outcomes here, I think is what I'm trying to emphasize more than anything else. And, they've got a new pitching coach who is expected to do a very good job.
They have a new manager.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that. He's a Hall of Famer, by the way.
Yeah, I was just saying, he's a Hall of Famer baseball person.
Yeah.
Right, so you know he's good.
Legally.
I don't know. I think I still see that rotation as very volatile right now. And one move that I've seen suggested is the White Sox bringing back Jose Quintana, which I think would be a phenomenal move for them right now.
I don't mind that.
Yeah, they could. There's a lot of. I mean, Quintana. If we're talking about like Quintana, also, I think there's a bit of risk to him, where he's been like he's probably gonna give you solid. He could give you frontline stuff, but that's like I think Quintana, Archer, too. They're kind of guys who I think that teams should definitely take a chance on, especially if they trust their pitching staff, like their coaching. I think that they can get the potential that Chris Archer had, because Archer, he was fantastic, and then he fell off a bit, and then he went to Pittsburgh and was not good in Pittsburgh, but everyone knows Pittsburgh can't develop pitching. So if he can get himself, I think Archer could also be a good move for a team that has a pitching coach that they would like to get their hands on some talent and some stuff. See if
So
they can
here's
unlock
my argument.
Archer.
I want Chris Archer, so no.
That's a very fair point.
I also want Chris Archer.
And I can't argue with it.
I would not enjoy seeing him go to the South Side because I want him. But I apparently...
maybe if you say that you don't want Chris Archer,
right?
Then
maybe if I start a nationwide movement that's don't
Chris
bring
Archer, don't
Archer
sign
here.
with the Tigers.
Not hashtag not Archer to Detroit. Then
then it would happen.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I don't know. And the other thing, I think Quintana makes a little bit of sense because currently Keuchel is the only lefty in that rotation, and they don't really have another lefty that they could potentially stretch out into a starter. I don't know. I think Reynaldo Lopez, who did he get non-tendered? He might have gotten non-tendered. But I think he's even right-handed too. So they have a lot of right-handed starting pitching options. I think it would make sense. Quintana wouldn't be super expensive. It would add another lefty arm to the rotation / pitching staff, whatever role he ends up taking. I don't know. I could see it happening. Yeah, I think that'll be a very interesting rotation. But I think it will take a lot of things going right for it to truly be a very, very successful rotation. And, they have some solid relievers too, but they don't have an excellent bullpen. I mean, they're losing Alex Colomé, who was a good closer, very good closer for them. And they're hopefully going to want a little bit more consistency from the position player side next year. But really, they should be trying to win the division. And Lance Lynn's a good step towards that, but I don't think they're quite there yet.
No, yeah, they have to. I think that they're at the point where, Robert is up, Jimenez is up, and Giolito's, a Cy Young candidate probably. Yeah. They're past the point of the retool. Like they're into the contending years. They need to start trying to win some championships.
And they just signed Adam Eaton also. We can cover that a little bit too.
Title confirmed.
How about that trade?
And that is a $7 million guaranteed for next year, plus an $8.5 million club option for 2022. Not a bad contract. I'm just still. I need to see more from the White Sox before I'm fully bought in, I think.
Oh, yeah. I think that they really should be in on Bauer. Like, fully in on Bauer. Or, I'm just trying to think of their outfield. They have an open spot in their outfield, right?
Currently, their outfield is projected to be Eaton, Jimenez, Robert. Or
Yeah, I don't really. Not after signing Eaton, I would say
if you
no.
put
Yeah,
if you put Jimenez at DH, then you've got Adam Engel in your outfield.
Angle, yeah.
I
Yeah,
guess that's fine.
I guess they don't. I mean, I guess if you go with Eaton, like just assuming their move, because Eaton over a Springer, like a big Springer deal, because I think that would have really solidified that outfield. But yeah, they just need. It's not a fantastic free agent market, and it's not like they're going to be an unreal Muto. They have the second best catcher in
Right.
baseball. But on the whole, yeah, I really think that they should be all in on Bauer. They need that big guy to really put him over the top, because right now you have a lot of question marks on that team, like you were mentioning, not just the rotation, but also, Robert was very bad the second half of last year. So what are you going to get out of him next year? And there's just a lot of young guys on that team that you just can't fully count on yet. So I think I mean, Bauer doesn't have the offense, but just getting a guy who you at least think you can count on to be very, very productive for you, I think is what that team very much needs right now.
Yeah, I would say to the original question, I think the Lance Lynn acquisition is great because they were so shallow at starting pitching, and Dunning. I think they need now talent, not and they do not have a lack of like players growing into their whatever final form. So they don't need any more of those. So I totally support the decision to trade Dunning for Lynn. That being said, as a whole team, and this might just be the AL Central rival in me talking, and I totally accept that might be a possibility, but I've just been hearing for so many years now about how next year is the White Sox year, next year is the White Sox year, next year is the White Sox year, that I refuse to believe that they will be an actual threat to win the division until game 162, they've won the division. Yeah. I refuse. It's just been. And I'm sure Ruhde, with the Royals fandom, you understand where I'm coming from in that sense. We have literally for 4 years now have just been hearing about next season. Hey, watch out, the White Sox are going to be crazy next season, and at some point it has to be this season. And it's just I refuse to buy in until I see it with my own eyes. I'm tired of hearing about how they're the next up-and-coming team and how eventually they're going to figure it out when they have yet to really prove that.
And my other thing is, I'm not I think I view Jose Abreu in a similar way that I view Dallas Keuchel. I don't feel like how they performed in 2020 is representative of what they're going to do moving forward.
For sure, yeah. Yeah, I don't think Jose Abreu is a 9 WAR candidate.
And he was a huge part of their offense this year.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, 3 WAR in 60 games from a first baseman is nutty.
So yeah, I think that's I'm with you there, Scott. That's really my outlook. As well, I'd say is we need to see more to really buy into this team, especially when the Twins are still very legit in the AL Central. In
the regular season,
I guess we'll see how the Cleveland fares. Whether they still have Lindor, there's a lot.
And without Lindor, that rotation is still something that could at the very least put them in contention.
They're always gonna have pitching. Yeah. That
insane.
Team produces pitching like nothing I've ever seen before.
They had a top tier rotation with Kluber, Clevenger, and Bauer. Lost them all, and they're still in contention for one of the best rotations in baseball.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
And it won't stop. They can go ahead and keep moving those frontline guys. They have kids that are going to come up and go through the Cleveland baseball team pitching system and become studs. That's just what they do.
They get traded right before arbitration.
Right, exactly. That's just what they do. And so that team, had such a horrifically horrible, disgusting, vomit-inducing, another adjective,
I don't know where
offense
you're
that
going.
I it's incredible to me that a team can have their pitching so well figured out and have their offense so not figured out. So that it's not going to be a question of pitching. It's going to be a question of that team can score more than 2 runs a game or not, which is a giant if. So the AL Central is like there's no, given with how much hype has been around the White Sox for the last half a decade, there really is no excuse for them not to be massive contenders and make a giant push to win this division. This division's horrible.
Yeah.
Like
The rebuild
genuinely horrible.
Yeah. They're past the rebuild. They can't keep having that. Well, now guys are going to start, because you come a point where guys start going to arbitration soon. Like all of a sudden, Jimenez is hitting arbitration. Like how many more years does he have? He probably has another year, unless they may have messed around with his service time, maybe too.
No,
but
he should be. Jimenez right now is at an even 2 years of service time. So
then so they have this minimum deal, and then all of a sudden you got to start paying guys. So you got, the windows close pretty quickly. Especially, I feel like the White Sox will probably spend money to keep the score, but if you're not going to spend money, they close very quickly. So they got to make sure you got to get a big guy and really go all in, I think.
Yep.
So I know you guys want to keep talking about the AL Central so much, especially you, Scott. So my next question for you is, how many games will the Kansas City Royals win in 2021? First of all, over under 500.
Under.
Yeah, under.
Under, yeah.
Yeah, pretty handily under.
Okay. Yeah, I think they're probably in the low 70s.
I don't think this is a. I don't think this is a 72 win team. I think this team still loses 90 plus. 90 or more. That's low 90s. So I'll say that. They definitely have taken steps forward, but I still think the back half of the rotation is still incredibly shaky, and the front half is still very young. And Santana's obviously a huge bat and a huge, like I talked about, he's my favorite signing so far fit wise, but outside of him and Soler, that offense is still, like, you let go of Franco for Lord knows what reason. That offense is still a little weird. And I think the Royals still probably have a few moves left up their sleeve. I don't think this is final product for any team we're talking about, but in its current state, like, Whit Merrifield only plays the Tigers 30 times. Like, he's not going to bat 800. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's tough to project. But
currently, I would say they're around that, high 60s, very low 70s or high 60s win total, I would say. Which is,
that's where
I'll put you damn near 10 wins ahead of the Tigers. I don't think you're going to be a bottom dweller in the division, but I think you're,
even after the blockbuster signing today
of Ian Kroll.
Yeah.
But I think honestly, I think you are like cemented, guaranteed fourth place. I think you are significantly. I think you are pretty handily ahead of the Tigers, but still pretty handily far away from the Indians, who I think pretty much have third wrapped up, or the White Sox, depending on your opinion of them. Like, I think you're a pretty significant distance away from Cleveland and Chicago, and obviously from Minnesota. But you've quite nicely separated yourself with this offseason, especially from Detroit as well. So I think you're pretty much, I would say, guaranteed fourth place.
So I'd say I am a little bit more bullish than I thought. I thought I was fairly light on predictions. I would say the Royals right now are on, like, if I had to say a specific number, I'd say 76 wins. Probably right now. I think they could push 80 with just dumb luck.
Sure. I mean, yeah, I don't think that's like egregious. I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, that's less than that's like eight ish, 8 to 10 wins different from what I think. That's not
Yeah.
horrible.
And I do think it's interesting because especially if the Indians trade Lindor, I think the Royals' offense is considerably better. Markedly
Yeah, I don't
better.
disagree with that.
Yeah, Cleveland's offense is atrocious.
Horrible. Like
Yeah.
horrible. And somehow still better than Detroit's, which is awesome. But like that is a really bad offense. So yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. Honestly, you might have been better than their offense in 2020,
Yeah.
and now you've only added pieces.
Right. Even took a piece directly from them.
Right. And especially then if they lose
Yeah,
Lindor,
let me
like
check
the
just
real bad on
just
that
straight
team.
up run score.
I mean, I when the Yankees played them in the first round, it was basically you had Lindor, Ramirez, and Santana, and then you did not care about anybody
The Royals
else.
and the Indians scored the exact same number of runs in 2020.
Yeah.
And
now you've made additions, and they have made subtractions, and are looking to make more.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing is I really, really struggle to evaluate this team too because obviously Salvador Perez is not going to hit like that over a full season, but I don't think he'll be quite as bad as he was in 2018. I mean, part of his narrative was that he played so damn much that he was burned out by like age 28. Well, he got a full season's rest and he came back hitting really well this year, and I think there's something to that.
Who's gonna play third base?
Hunter Dozier.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I like that.
Because he was gonna be first. He was probably gonna be first base,
and then Santana.
Okay,
so that justifies the Franco non-tender a little bit, I guess.
Yeah.
I still would have tendered him even with that, but.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
I have a quick question for you guys.
A little bit justification.
A question for you guys about Cleveland. So it's basically set in stone that Lindor will be traded, if not now, 100% at the deadline. J-Ram has 2 years left on his contract at $11 million, which is an unbelievable number for him. How long until he's moved? Because I don't see them giving him an extension if they won't give Lindor an extension.
Yeah,
I honestly have no idea.
I think
that's if they get rid of him, they have nothing on offense. I think they would have a full lineup of 9 players who none of them can post league average offense.
That's all the Dolan plan, baby.
That would be a super. That would be a historically bad offense. Yeah, that would be that. The whole season would be beyond low scoring games, given the pitching they have as well. That would be wild. But I think you're right. I can't imagine Dolan paying J-Ram what he will most likely be worth. He has yet to prove that he's willing to pay anyone, nonetheless an MVP candidate. So, I think, I don't know. I just think Lindor obviously goes first, but like that could be a winter meetings 2021 type of thing.
And you have, because like the difference is, like, if you're saying that, like the reason I don't see any way he's not traded is because if we're talking about the 2 guys, there's no way that you don't extend Lindor over J-Ram. And he's younger, he plays a more valuable position, and he's been more consistent. Correct. Like there's no way that that's not the choice. It's just that they. So I just don't see a scenario where they let Lindor walk and then pay J-Ram a $30 million a year contract or whatever he's gonna garner in 2 years.
Yeah, like I'm gonna be honest with you, I just have no clue. I can't.
You can't predict the Indians.
I can't.
Or Cleveland.
Can't predict the Cleveland baseball team. You can't.
So, yeah, but like, and with the Royals, I think I really struggle to evaluate the offense. But Salvador Perez could be a very good hitter. Adalberto Mondesi, I have zero clue. I just don't know. But he also could be and he's hypothetically a very good defensive shortstop, so he could be, a plus bat and a plus defensive shortstop, and he steals a lot of bases, which is not a thing.
Not a thing.
It's not a thing.
And Soler wasn't hitting well this year. The Royals had a not an excellent offense, but a solid offense, and that's with Soler not hitting so well. So, I think on the better end of the possible outcomes for the Royals, the offense would be very good, absolutely better than Cleveland's offense. I don't know. It might come down to how strongly you feel about Daniel Lynch. I mean, if Daniel Lynch is ready next year, comes up and pitches well, the Royals have a rotation of Brad Keller, Mike Minor, Brady Singer, Chris Bubich, and Daniel Lynch, and all of those guys could be very solid starters.
Yeah, agreed. Singer terrifies me. I'm so not looking forward to batting against him for the next 6+ years.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's horrifying.
It would take me a lot of thought, and I wouldn't come to an answer that I'm super satisfied with on a win total for them, but I think it'll just be a strange thing to watch more than anything next year.
Yeah. For sure. And we like I said, I mean, so few guys have even been signed still in the general scheme of things that there's still I highly doubt. I mean, we could see a Lindor move. I highly doubt the Royals are done. Just in that division alone, so many moves are going to be made still, that that'll be a late January, early February would be a better suited time probably to pinpoint or have a better feel for you personally.
All right, so we have 2 minutes left. Here's my flash question. Give me an answer, and if you have a justification, 10 seconds.
David Dahl.
Which team will be the
Good
most
point.
active in free agency for the remainder of the offseason?
Mets.
Most active as in most signings, or most active as in biggest signings? Quality or quantity?
You can give an answer for both if you want.
Quality, absolutely the Mets, without a doubt. Quantity might legitimately be the Tigers because we have to sign 6 people because we literally don't have a team right now.
I think quantity.
Now they're all going to be $800K or $500K. Nobody wants them, and we're going to sign our whole team in February because we're just going to take the scraps that nobody else wants. But strictly quantitative, it might legit be a team like the Tigers or the Pirates that genuinely just don't have half a roster right now and need to fill spots to field a team this season.
In terms of major league signings, because Tigers got a lot of minor league signings. Then
say major league signings.
I think Houston probably is the most because they have a lot of holes and they still want to win.
Yeah,
so they're going to lose Springer. They need to fill that. They need a catcher. They need to fill that. They need some pitching. So I think they are probably the team that makes the most signings. I just don't know if they are able to get a big fish. Although I think that they may be in on Real Muto.
Well, and what I've heard, and I think Michael Shopoff, who's kind of our Astros guy, is saying the Astros just don't have anyone to play center field if Springer leaves. So almost no matter what, you're guaranteed to get a center field signing there at the minimum.
Yeah,
David Dahl would have been a good move. So Scott, did you want David Dahl?
Come back next week where we ask Scott. We drill Scott about David Dahl for an hour.
Hey man,
just an hour of Scott saying David Dahl.
So anyway, that will do it for us. As Diego so swiftly mentioned in chat, go ahead and a lot of players out there, a lot of jerseys to buy if you're a Jersey fan, and if you're buying jerseys, you're probably doing it from Fanatics. So if you're doing any holiday shopping of any kind at Fanatics, please go ahead and use our Fanatics link. gives us a little bit of the money from the sale at no extra cost to you. Helps us out quite a bit.
Immaculate plug, Ryan.
Indeed.
Transition game is very strong today.
So, as always, thanks for tuning in with us, watching along, bringing your questions, bringing your energy in chat. We greatly appreciate it. We will be back same time next week, hopefully with more to talk about. If there is nothing to talk about, we might not be back next week. We'll have to see. But yes, thank you for listening.
Detroit,
we will see you next time.
Adios. Good job, boys.
Over.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.